to when the problem asks you to do an inverse?
Oh, no.
An inverse is a flip, okay? So an inverse is where we take x and y and we switch places.
To solve for y.
And then we resolve for y. So the easiest one, like if I said y is equal to 3x plus 2, right? And so I'll go at 2, I'll go 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So I have this value, right? That's this line. If I want to flip it and inverse it, I take x and I take y, and I flip the values. Then I go ahead and re-isolate my y. Subtract the 2, divide by the 3. Okay? So what this is if I took a look here, y is equal to 1/3 x minus 2/3. Okay? Now what you'll notice here, did I do this right? My 1/3 here at the negative 2/3, so it's somewhere around here, right? I go up 1 and over 3. Now, what this is, because what's happening is y and x are flipping places, meaning that x and y are now swapping places, okay? Meaning that each of our graphs are now being reflected over the x equals y line, okay? So x equals y is this line right here, okay? Technically that should cross right there. That's the line. And so this value jumps over to this value. This value jumps over to this value. My 0, 2 is now a 2, 0. You see how they flipped places, right? They happen to cross here, it's the same value, but then they continue on different trajectories, okay? That's just my linear one. Let me give you something more applicable. Would probably be your x squared, okay? Now keep in mind, there is something called a horizontal line test you probably have heard about. A horizontal line test meaning when I put a line through horizontally, I cannot have 2 values or more that it touches. If it does, the inverse doesn't really exist. Because what happens in an inverse, so if I were to take this, I have my, I have this value here, okay? And this is the line that I flip over, so I flip over it. My line was a little bit off, but you see how that shows there, right? So technically the way that I drew it was just because I don't have grids. It should be more like this, right? Completely over. Now, my line is this one, so I flip over it, rematch up what it is, and do you see now with that value, I get 2 answers for an x, okay? So that's why when I go and I take, right, the square root of x, or the square root, in this case, square root of y, okay, because we flip things around. Do you notice that when we draw that function, it only gives us the top value? Even though when we do square root, we get a plus or minus x. Okay, the square root of it, right? So anytime that we have an inverse, understand that what we're doing is we're flipping the values over that y is equal to x line. They're switching places. Now, if you don't happen to have the graph fully, they give you a chart like this, then just understand that the inverse is going to be flipped over. That's it. Okay? Now, what does that mean about our logarithm and our... Well, let's take a look at that first one. So we had... Let's put E for this one. That's my graph for ln of x, just because they are inverses of each other. Minimum, you have to have those 2 points labeled on there for me to see, for me to take it as correct. Okay?